On the Republican side, we will absolutely be peaceful and respectful, and I hope we will receive the same treatment from anyone who doesn't agree with us. There'll be protests this weekend against the coronation. Many people in Britain just believe that this isn't what we need for our future. We need to move to a more progressive system of democracy whereby we have an elected head of state who can better represent the interests of British people. The key point is to take away is that many British people cannot possibly associate the royal family with any sort of pride, because much of modern Britain is subject to the consequences of the slavery and colonisation and exploitation that has happened at the hands of the British royal family. So it's completely misleading that this is a fringe or even radical issue. The simple reality is that public opinion is very much shifting in favour of anti-monarchy. Only a third of young people think that the monarchy should continue. And we recently had a stat from ITV, which was that only 52% of the British public support the monarchy. Now that's a fractional majority and is the lowest ever recorded. And we've seen how that has massively declined over the last decade. It's evident where this trend is going. We're coming out of the cost of living crisis and a winter where people have truly suffered. And watching the king ride through the streets in a golden carriage and a crown is going to feel like a slap in the face. What we really need is joy and pride from better sources. With regards to people's reactions to the protest, I mean, as I've said, there's a massive shift in public opinion and people are really moving towards republicanism. But even those who are total supporters of the monarchy, I hope will respect our rights to protest the monarchy as much as we intend to respect their rights to celebrate the monarchy. We've seen over the last few years and throughout recent decades, actually, how the Metropolitan Police has absolutely no interest in protecting rights to protest and protecting democracy in the UK. I think it's genuinely shocking that they so consistently fail to protect people's rights to protest. But it's important to understand that will not scare people away. People will continue to protest the issues that they find important. What I believe is that we need a vote to remove the monarchy and create a system where we have an elected head of state who, quite simply, as I've said consistently over and over again, can better represent the interests of British people. The simple fact is, there is no advantage to having them in modern Britain, and we need to move into the future. There's this really misleading argument that the king holds absolutely no power and serves a purely ceremonial role. Now, it's true that largely what he does is ceremonial. And if you, even in response to just that argument, why are we paying for that? If he's not doing anything, why are we spending so much money on it? However, I also want to highlight the king does not hold no power. There are so many consistent examples of him exercising power, particularly to sort of leverage politicians on issues that he personally believes in, with no democratic accountability. In 2004, he sent letters to Tony Blair emphasising that British troops in Iraq were under-resourced and highlighting that supposedly to encourage Blair to spend more money on that war. He picks pet issues from hedgehogs to homeopathy to advocate for, but has shown no interest in the Treasury at a time of economic crisis in the UK. There are tax exemptions, there are overseas assets. There is consistent corruption. Arguably, whether or not that corruption is criminal or not, but absolutely there is corruption and abuse of office and abuse of power. Many will say, in response to the Republican argument, look at all of these bad presidents or bad political leaders. It's absolutely true that there are bad and good political figures in any system of government. I'm a Democrat. I believe in democracy. And whilst you can make the argument that we can't trust people to vote for whoever should represent them, that's fine. You're entitled to make that argument. But that is not an argument that sits with principles of democracy and not an argument that I think is acceptable in Britain today. I can't name who I think should be head of state because that is absolutely not my place. What I believe is that in modern Britain, we need democracy and we need to vote for that person collectively, rather than have someone who inherits it as a consequence of his family and of his privilege.